Nebraska police officer abducted by extraterrestrial aliens from nearest galaxy found out Earth was their energy source. On the night of December 3rd, 1967, a young police officer in Ashland, Nebraska named Herbert Schirmer saw an alien spaceship and met with its aliens that were inside it. The encounter is one of the most discussed UFO cases among ufologists. It was around 2:30 in the morning, and 22-year-old Herb Schirmer was driving his patrol car along U.S. Highway 6 towards Nebraska 63. Suddenly he felt something unusual and got disoriented. Sometime before, at around 1 a.m. and 1:35 a.m., he had checked the local barn and found the cattle behaving strangely. At around 2:30 a.m., Schirmer crossed Highway 6 after checking on some facilities and reaching its intersection with Highway 63. He noticed some strange red lights on his right, hovering above the ground. Schirmer assumed that it was just a truck, so he passed the intersection, drove his car to the object, stopped at 40 feet, and switched on his cruiser headlights. He was totally amazed to see that the object was nothing like a truck. It was shining brightly and had a metallic body. The policeman also noticed that the blinking lights were coming from the saucer's window. In our report, he later wrote, at 2:30 a.m. on December 3rd, 1967, I saw a UFO at the junction of U.S. Highway 6 and Nebraska Highway 63, believe it or not. He described the object to be oval-shaped, 20 feet wide, and 15 feet tall. He also said that when he approached the UFO, it rose to 50 feet off the ground, emitted a loud beep noise, suddenly shot a green beam to the ground and vanished in the sky. At that moment, Schirmer thought his encounter with the alien spacecraft was over, but when he returned to his station, it was 3 a.m., so he lost 20 minutes between the spacecraft's disappearance and returning to his station. When he got home, Schirmer went to bed but could not fall asleep because of a severe headache. He found a red scar under his left ear. Schirmer used to make notes on his log, so he wrote down everything about his UFO encounter. As soon as the news hit the media, Schirmer's phone was flooded with prank calls. One man called him and said he was from Mars, and once he was flagged down by a local tire shop owner who said, "Herb, if you ever see another flying saucer and it lands, tell them, the aliens, that I want to sell them a set of tires." Schirmer joined the U.S. Navy at the age of 17 and also served in the Vietnam War, although he had never supported the war. After the Navy, he decided to join law enforcement. The policeman struggled to remember what had happened to him in the 20 minutes following the UFO encounter. After several months, in 1968, a psychologist from the University of Wyoming, Dr. Leo Sprinkle, continued a hypnosis session with him, during which it was possible to partially restore information erased from his memory. Those hypnotic sessions were conducted by the Condon Committee, a University of Colorado project funded by the U.S. Air Force. Schirmer said that the engine of his car stalled and the radio turned off. He saw something white and a fuzzy figure that resembled a man came out of the spacecraft and approached his police cruiser. The alien being prodded him with some device and said, "Are you the watchman of this town?" Schirmer replied, "Yes, sir," and then the alien asked him to go with him. The aliens took him into his spacecraft, which was full of lights, cables, and various instruments. The policeman met several aliens on board who were smaller in size, told him that there were other flying objects of the same kind flying in the atmosphere of our planet. He also said that aliens had bases in the United States, but they themselves came from the nearest galaxy and stayed on Venus for a while. The aliens said their propulsion system was based on reverse electromagnetism, and Earth was their energy source. Their goal was to prevent humanity from destroying the Earth. After further investigation, which included hypnotic regression, Sprinkle worried about a perceived bias on his part, and he wrote this: "The writer, Sprinkle, believes that there is sufficient empirical evidence to support the views that the following phenomena exist. hypnotic processes or varying levels of awareness, extrasensory perception and psychokinetic processes, ESP or psi processes, and spacecraft flying saucers from extraterrestrial sources which are controlled by intelligent beings who seem to be conducting an intensive survey of the Earth. Because these views are different from those of many persons in contemporary society, the writer, Sprinkle, offers his impressions with the recognition that other observers may have obtained different and even conflicting impressions of the interview with Sergeant Schirmer, end quote. The Condon Committee unanimously dismissed Schirmer's messages as sheer delusion and hallucination. Dr. Sprinkle had a different opinion but could not convince them. The state of mind of this patient was not brilliant. The Condon Committee concluded this: evaluation of psychological assessment tests, the lack of any evidence, the interviews with the patrolman left project staff with no confidence that the troopers' reported UFO experience was physically real. However, the abduction story of Schirmer continued hitting the headlines throughout the 1970s. He left Ashland and settled in the Pacific Northwest. Schirmer died in 2017, but before his death, cartoonist Michael Jasorka released a graphic novel titled December 3rd, 1963, An Alien Encounter, at a launch party on December 3rd, 2011, Los Angeles. In the novel, he illustrated Schirmer's story in black and white color. The artist, who also believes the story, dedicated the novel to Schirmer. The case has been picked up apart by UFO researchers ever since, and it's hard to know what to make of it all. It's certainly notable that Schirmer has always stuck by his story, even in the face of ridicule and his own life falling apart around him. So is this perhaps indicative of him maybe telling the truth, or at least what he truly believes to be the truth? Or is it just the ramblings of someone who has lost their grip on reality? It's difficult to say for sure, and the case for Herbert Schirmer remains unsolved. And this is on Collective Spark by Vicky Vermahausen-Wise. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.